Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome into the News 10 Plus Digital Desk. I'm Taylor Gattoni with First Alert Meteorologist Colton Cichoracki, who is very, very busy this week tracking another winter storm on the way.
Yeah, so this is likely going to be the biggest snowstorm that we've seen so far this year. You'll have to probably go back to last year before we saw a system like this come into the area. And we've been getting some new model data in. We get a new model data beginning around 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we get the last model to come in right around 1 or so. So I've looked at all the new model data, and I'm still confident in what our forecast shows. Nothing really that surprising showing up, but there are some things that we need to keep an eye on, including the track of the system, because it does look like there's going to be a period of a little bit of some warm air that comes in and changes things over to some rain in parts of mid-Michigan for a brief period of time. So how long that happens, where it happens, that still needs to be worked out, and obviously that will have some big implications on snowfall totals when we come through. So I want to play you through all of the scenarios that we have here. I made a new graphic.
Lovely, and I do want to pause you for just a second.
Yeah.
We already have a few questions. Catherine asking, when will the storm impact Hillsdale? So Catherine, Colton will go over that in just a second. And then Shannon is asking, will this weather cause power outages? And thank you for your coverage. Well, thank you for that question, Shannon. Thank you.
And we will get into both of those. I'll first mention, because I have a graphic that will specifically talk about the timing, but the power outages is something that we really do need to be concerned about.
Yes.
Because there is a chance that we see some power outages, especially given any of the snow that sticks to the branches or any ice that may be on the branches as of late. And we're going to see some very strong gusty winds. So I think power outages is a big concern with this upcoming system. But we'll talk about all of this. There's a lot to go on from here. But I want to first talk about the snowfall, because this is might be kind of confusing with all the different colors that are showing up on the graphic here, but what we're going to do here is break down the probability of each of these scenarios happening, whether it's the low-end forecast or the high-end forecast, and then what is most likely, which you'll see in the middle. So when you look at the high-end forecast, that would put us into a range of seeing several inches of accumulation, possibly up to around a foot. That's the worst-case scenario for us, and now what would happen there is that we don't see any mixing, and that the system shifts a little bit further to the east and puts us in the heaviest snow. Now, the low-end scenario, which is, of course, the best case scenario, the lowest amount of snow would put us anywhere between about 2 to 6 inches of snow around mid-Michigan. So those are kind of the high-end and the low-end forecast, but what's most likely is that most of us see about 6 to 10 inches of snow, which I will show you in our official forecast for this winter storm coming up in just a couple of minutes. But I just wanted to show you some of those scenarios, whether or not we see a lot or whether we see a little, and what is most likely across mid-Michigan. So first alert weather days, we declared these yesterday, keeping them in place, excuse me, as I cough, as that we're going to see some heavy snow begin tomorrow and last all through the evening hours and into Saturday as well. And we are concerned about seeing some near blizzard conditions at times, and we're talking about visibility that's going to be greatly reduced with the heavy snow that's coming down, as well as the wind causing some blowing and drifting snow. All of this, bottom line here, by the time we get into the evening hours of Friday, maybe a good time to just stay inside and ride this storm out through Saturday, because we're going to see impacts stretch into the weekend as well. And here are kind of a breakdown of when the impacts will be felt the most. So tomorrow morning should be okay. By the time we get into the evening hours, probably after 3, 4 o'clock, we're going to see some high-end impacts from the system, and those are going to last all the way through Saturday, morning and evening. So I would recommend, if you have any weekend plans, your weekend plans on Saturday should be digging out from the storm and staying in. Sunday, it looks a little bit better, but still, I do expect some issues there as well when it comes to snowfall. So when will the snow begin on Friday? Someone asked, Debbie just asked how much snow for Lansing. We'll get into that in just 1 second.
And then someone said they can't hear. I'm not sure if there's a little cutout in the system or what happened, but hopefully you were able to hear us and you're getting the information.
But so when will the snow begin? So this is tomorrow. I put in the pink color where it's going to begin the soonest. So it's going to be beginning in southwestern parts of mid-Michigan and then kind of move to the north. So we're expecting along I-94 between about 10 a.m. and to noon, and then in the Lansing area between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. and then north of there after that. So one of the things that we'll need to watch out for, we may need to bump these times back a little bit. It may start a little bit later, given some of our latest model data. But this is the general theme. I would have all of your plans in place. If you can get out of work early tomorrow, I would do it, because the morning commute will be okay. It's the evening commute that I really expect some significant impacts out on the roadways. So the system out to our west, not impressive at all, but it will be a rapidly developing low pressure system that's moving through the Great Lakes region. And whenever you get a rapidly developing system like that, tricky forecast, right? So many things can change. So that's why this has been a trickier forecast and hasn't been a slam dunk for us in terms of winter, or I should say in terms of snowfall. But right now, you can see that we still have some snow showers left over from this morning. This really won't cause too many issues, but still there might be a few more snow showers here this evening. And then we should dry out tonight, and then it's all about the system heading into tomorrow. So I don't expect a ton of accumulation with this system. So let's get to the model data. I do want to point out, I don't believe I put the graphic in here, but the National Weather Service did say they will be upgrading the winter storm watch to a winter storm warning within the next couple of hours.
Okay.
I would suspect probably around 3. We'll see that. If we get it during this, I will let you know, but I have not seen it pop up on my phone just yet, but I would not be surprised if we do get that upgrade here soon. Okay, so let's get through the hour-by-hour forecast. And we'll get the snowfall totals. See a lot of people asking about that. We will get to that in just one second. Right after this graphic, I have the snowfall totals. So looking at the hour-by-hour forecast, this is tomorrow evening, or I should tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. And you can see that there will be some snow showers on the west side of the state. And then what's going to happen as the system moves in is actually it's going to be running into some dry air. So it may take some time before the snow actually begins to fall from the sky. That's not atypical from a winter storm that we see. But by the time we get to 3 o'clock, here we go. The snow is beginning across the area, started sooner, a little bit further to the south, and we're going to see it spread for the rest of the north. And one of the things that we need to watch out for with the initial burst of snow that we're going to see, we could be talking about snowfall rates of over an inch an hour. So that is some incredibly heavy snow, and that's why that Friday evening commute, I really think that it's going to be a difficult one across the area. So if you can change your plans, I would certainly recommend doing so. But watch what happens as we head into the evening. I'm going to play this out a little bit. This particular model, right? So what this is doing, this is at 10 o'clock. This has two things happening, some dry air coming in and us changing over to some rain. So this system, this model has the low track a little bit further to the west, which will put us into some warm air for a brief time, but then some colder air will wrap in back behind this. Other models have the low a little bit further to the east, and that would put most of mid-Michigan into all snow through the duration of this event. So that is the thing that we're watching very closely, is where does that low happen? Even if it shifts 20 miles, that could have huge implications on a place like Lansing, which appears to be right on the line. If it shifts east 20 miles, then that puts Lansing into the heavier snow. If it shifts west 20 miles, that could cut down on some of the snowfall totals. So that's what the computer models are battling out right now. I can show you another model that would show something different. There still is not a real convergence on what's going to happen. Some of our latest model trends, I will say, though, have been shifting a little bit further to the east. That's just what the models are doing right now, so we'll keep a very close eye on it. But bottom line here is, even if we do see that change over to some rain, it will not last long, because as we head into the day on Saturday, once that low gets north of us, colder air will be wrapping in back behind this. That's going to change everything back over to some snow. We're going to see temperatures falling throughout the day on Saturday. So the snow may go from a wetter, dense snow into a lighter, fluffier snow throughout this event. So by Saturday, we are going to be seeing a lot of blowing and drifting snow with this system, and then we'll see snow showers continue almost all day Saturday. It's going to be a lot of lake effect snow, and then we'll actually keep lake effect snow chances in the forecast for Sunday, possibly even into next week as well. So this is going to be a longer duration period of seeing some snowy weather, especially after we get after the system. Then we'll see the lake effect snow kind of turn on here. So everyone has been asking this question. I know it's the biggest question that we get when it comes to any snowstorm. Here's where we have the snowfall map, and I was just mentioning that I may need to add in another category here for far southeastern parts with a little bit lower totals than this, but I would say if you're from Mason to Jackson to Hillsdale, you're in that 4 to 8 inch range. Once you get closer to I-69, stretching up through Calhoun, Eaton County, up towards Lansing, you're likely going to be in that 6 to 10 inch range, and then the further northwest, 10 to 14 plus inches of snow. So general rule of thumb here, the further northwest that you live in mid-Michigan, if you live in northwestern parts of Eaton County as opposed to southeastern parts, there will be a big difference in how much snowfall. So the further northwest that you live, the higher snowfall totals you are. I would say Lansing is generally in that 6 to 10 inch range. If I had to put a number on Lansing, I would say probably around 8 inches of snow with this system. So this may shift around depending on how much rain/snow we get. Places that may be impacted, places like Williamston, Mason potentially, could be on that cutoff depending on how much warm air gets here and when that changeover occurs. So this may shift around still a little bit, but I feel comfortable with this. The National Weather Service just put out their own forecast, very similar to this as well, but there is some things that we need to watch out for in terms of how much mixing happens with that. So I hope that answers everyone's questions when it comes to snowfall. We'll go back to it at the end here, but again, generally 6 to 10 in Lansing and generally 4 to 8 inches in Jackson areas. Now, in terms of the wind gusts, and this is something that we should not be overlooking. Yes, the snow, obviously that's always a big thing when it comes to a snowstorm, but the winds are a huge concern with this system because this low pressure will be strengthening as it moves through. So our winds are actually going to change direction throughout this. So initially, they're going to be coming in from the east through the day on Friday, gusting anywhere between 30 to 40 miles per hour. So that is going to lead to additional travel issues out there with the blowing and drifting snow. And then once that low goes by, we change our winds, change the direction of the winds, and so by the time we get into Saturday, coming more from a westerly direction, and the winds will be just as strong. So we're likely going to see wind gusts possibly over 40 miles per hour at times on Saturday. And I mentioned just a second ago that the snow was going to go from a wetter snow to a more fluffy snow. So Saturday is when we're expecting most of the blowing and drifting snow to happen because the snow will be a little bit more fluffy and it can blow around a little bit easier. So Saturday is going to be a difficult travel day all day long.
Yeah, low visibility for sure.
Low visibility, near blizzard conditions, so the winds are going to cause issues, and we may also see some power outages. The winds are going to remain strong through the day on Saturday. They'll relax a bit once we head into Sunday, but still remaining rather breezy. So power outages are a concern with this system for sure. I don't expect anything widespread, but I would not be surprised if there are some power outages. And one concern that we have with that is the fact that it's going to get cold. So that's just not a good recipe when it comes to the system, because if we do, it looks like it left in that graphic, I'm going to skip over that one. If we do see that and see any power outages, it's going to be cold outside, so that's not the best recipe there.
No, you want to make sure you're staying warm. And this is a good reminder, real quick, I'll pop out, to prepare in case there is a power outage. Keep flashlights on you, maybe a little power bank to charge your phone in case you need to call someone. Find some warm shelter if you do run out of power. Maybe you keep a generator if you have one. Get some candles or anything that can prepare you, some blankets. That would be a great idea as well to prepare for any power outages in the area.
Yeah, that's great advice. And, you know, one of the things, too, that we've been talking about is whether or not this is going to be a blizzard, right? We get that question all the time, especially when it comes terms to when we see a lot of snow and wind. And the National Weather Service actually has some very specific criteria that has to be met for this to be classified as a blizzard. So the criteria are visibility for less than a quarter of a mile, winds of over 35 miles per hour, and the duration of at least 3 hours. And basically what the Weather Service is saying here is that at times we'll meet this criteria, but it's probably not going to last all 3 hours, so that's kind of where we fall short. But bottom line here, whether or not it's officially a blizzard doesn't really matter. It's going to be a significant winter storm that's going to cause some significant issues out on the roadways, but I just want to kind of break that down for you in case anyone was wondering whether or not we were going to see a blizzard warning issued. Unlikely. We'll likely see winter storm warnings issued within the next hour or two across mid-Michigan. So in summary, heavy snow is likely, near blizzard conditions are possible, and there is that concern with some power outages across mid-Michigan as well, especially with some of those stronger wind gusts. So it's going to be the heaviest snowfall of the season by far in terms of how much snow we're going to see. I think the highest snowfall that we've seen from a system is 2.5 inches. So we're going to beat that with this system. And briefly, before we wrap up here, I do want to mention that the cold air is coming. So we are going to see a prolonged stretch of cold air that's going to move into mid-Michigan beginning this weekend. So really what you're seeing here, where you see these purples and whites, that's the coldest air. And watch how that moves in as we head into Sunday, especially. and then it just kind of lingers. We don't have any warm-ups coming, so whatever snow we do see from this system will be sticking around on the ground, and then we'll see continued chances of seeing lake effect snow as well. So here's a look at the 10-day temperature trend. We go from the 30s today and tomorrow down to the 20s. That 27 on Saturday is early, and then we fall down into the lower teens for highs for Monday and Tuesday, and then we stay there all through next week. In terms of low temperatures, we also see some very cold low temperatures dropping down into the single digits beginning Sunday night, and then we'll stay a few nights there with temperatures very close to that 0-degree mark. And our wind chill readings next week will also be extremely low as well. So we could see wind chills next week below 0 at times. So we mentioned a lot in this with this winter storm that's coming in tomorrow. It looks like it's going to bring us some heavy snowfall. It's going to bring us some strong winds, and eventually, too, after this, we'll see some cold air. And one other thing that I do want to point out here is the fact that once we get the cold coming in, especially late Saturday into Sunday, as the temperature falls, salt becomes much less effective. So we're talking about temperatures in the teens on Sunday. So whatever snow we see, whatever snow is still on the road, the salt's not going to be working as great. So we may see travel impacts linger all the way through Sunday, possibly even into next week, with some of those, with salt not working. So that's just something to keep in mind with the system, as no really warm temperatures are coming. So hello winter, to say the least, because we have been seeing such a mild winter and not many snow systems coming in, but this is not going to be the case. We will see some snow from this, and it's going to be a significant snowstorm.
It's a big, bold hello from Mother Nature and winter itself. We do have a quick little question from AJ asking, will there be enough snow to build a snowman and his family? Now, AJ, I will say, like Colton was mentioning, you're not only going to get all of the snow and it's going to come down fast, you're also going to deal with blizzard-like conditions and those really cold temperatures. So even if we do get enough snow to make a snowman and his family, it's probably in your best interest and your children's interest, especially if they're smaller. You want to make sure that they are inside, they are safe, away from the cold and the snow, because those are not going to be good conditions to be in. So you probably want to stay inside and off the roads if possible.
Yeah, and you know, the type of snow too, for us to get good snow for snowmen, or to
enjoy the fun wintry activities.
Yes, if you are staying home. So initially it's going to be a good snow for that, but as that cold air comes in, it's going to become more and more fluffy. So I think by the end of this, probably not very good weather for snowmen, because it is going to be a little bit of a drier snow and kind of fluffy. Yeah. But there will be an opportunity to get out there and maybe make some of those snowmen or whatever you want to do out in the snow. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit more fluffy, especially once we get into Saturday night and into Sunday.
Yeah, and I'll show those the temperature trend one more time just so you can get a look at that. And again, notice how Colton was saying we're going to get into the single digits this time next week, and you were looking at that right now.
Yeah, that's going to be some of the coldest there. And I'll kind of backtrack here and go back to the snowfall map. So give me a second as I play back through these graphics that I had. Just because that's what everyone wants to see, and in case you're tuning in a little bit later in terms of how much snow we're going to see from this system.
There we go.
But I really do think that the snow is only part of the system, because there is also going to be the strong winds, and then you can also account for the cold that's going to come in. And so this is the area that we need to watch closely, where there could be some shifts. And of course, it always seems to be like it's Lansing area that there could be a shift north or south with the heaviest snow. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But as of right now, this is what we're going with. I would suspect that here soon, I haven't gotten the notification yet, but probably within the next hour or so, we'll probably get our upgrade to a winter storm warning. And once that happens, of course, we'll keep you updated.
Yes, we will make sure to keep you updated. I do want to take a quick look outside, a live look over US 127, and roads are looking fine. It looks like traffic's moving just fine right now after they, clear the roads. But again, for more of your weather alert updates and also traffic alert updates, you can always download the First Alert Weather app, a great tool to have on your phone, especially during this time when we're getting all the wintry systems moving into our area.
Yeah, and someone's asking about school closings for tomorrow. That obviously is a call that's made by superintendents across the area, so I don't want to speak on their behalf.
We will post the closings on our website, WILX.com, if those do come in.
Right, and so, I think personally, what could happen is some early dismissals tomorrow, because I think that morning commute will be okay, but schools may opt to just cancel class altogether. Not my call. I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf, but if they do end up closing, make sure you check our website, download the News 10 First with our weather app, or even our news app. Both of those, you can find the school closings in them. And of course, tomorrow morning we'll have that scrolling on the bottom of the screen. If we do see school closings, I would not be surprised if we do, but we'll see what superintendents end up doing now.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want to add right now before you go on for Studio 10?
No, I don't think so, but make sure you just stay with us. You know, we have adjusted our teams and when people are working to cover the snowstorm for you. So make sure you tune in throughout the evening shows tonight. Andy is here. He's working on the forecast right now. And then as we get into tomorrow, we'll have the full team here. And then even on Saturday, we have adjusted our schedules to have more people here, more coverage for you. So it's a team effort here at News 10, and we will keep you updated as this gets going, as it does look like it's going to be the biggest snowstorm that we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, well, thank you, Colton. One more time, First Alert Weather app, make sure you are downloading this. Again, not only to follow your location or plug in a location that you'll be heading to later tomorrow afternoon when that snow makes its way to our area, but also getting those traffic alert updates if there's any accidents or even if there's slick spots on the road. This will help you stay alert and aware on the conditions outside. All right, well, thank you, Colton. We'll see you coming up during Studio 10 today. That is at 3 o'clock, and Studio 10 is very busy today. So I'm going to quickly preview what Studio 10 has coming up at 3 o'clock. So it is National Milk Day today, and Claudia is going live from the MSU Dairy Center. Oh boy, that sounds good. All right, so if you want to learn more about what's going on for National Milk Day, all of the fun facts with that, and then also seeing what Claudia is going to be doing at the Dairy Center, make sure you tune in to Studio 10 coming up at 3 o'clock today. Of course, you can always look up their social media pages at WILX Studio 10, and you can get all of the latest videos and everything. They're so great about posting every single day right after their show. So you can always go back, rewatch something. I know they've had stuff on knitting, Motivation Monday. Of course, they have Take Me Home Tuesday. Today, they are going to have Claudia live at the Dairy Center for National Milk Day. But yes, a lot of fun going on with Studio 10. And if you are staying at home over the weekend, which is a great and smart idea, you can always look at Studio 10 for all the fun and get, inspired for different activities and crafts or events that you can do with your family and friends. So that is what we have coming up today. And I also want to get into what we have coming up during First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news. But real quick, I want to check in with Riley Connell to see what she has coming up today during our 90 minutes of news.
Hello,
Riley.
hello.
I like this jacket.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, is
Nice suede.
Did you thrift that one too?
No,
Oh.
well, technically I thrifted it out of my aunt's closet, but
We'll
every
count
once
that.
in a while she likes to clear it out, and I get all of the goodies that she hasn't worn since the early 2000s. So
like
luckily this is staying in style, I think.
Yeah,
So
I like
giving
it.
a shot. Thank you very much.
If not, trendsetter. There you go.
There you go. I'll bring it back around myself.
Okay, well, I love that. What do you have coming up today during our 90 minutes?
Well, it's a busy day, as everybody knows. I saw Colton was up here earlier talking about the storm that we've got coming in. So all of the power companies are already starting to get prepared. They've been getting prepared since yesterday. But we're touching base with consumers, with BWL, with DTE, really anybody providing power in the state of Michigan. They're getting ready for the storm, making sure that they have all of the tools that they need to respond to customers as quickly as they can. If everybody remembers, last year we got hit with quite a nasty ice storm in February. So really they're kind of keeping their preparations ready. They've learned a lot of lessons from that situation too. So.
I want to give another look outside so people can see again the snow as you're talking about it right there.
Oh yeah, this is already going to start to amp up. I think Friday and Saturday is going to be the worst of it, and really the issues that come in with power lines, and this is according to the folks that I talked to with consumers, they say that it's really the heavy wet snow and rain that can weigh down on those lines and potentially weigh down on tree branches too, and those can fall and take those lines down. Not only that, but it's also going to get pretty cold as well. So between the cold, that snow that's building up, that wet and heavy snow, it's going to be weighing down on some lines, weighing down on some tree branches, and potentially causing some tricky situations for folks out there in the mid-Michigan region. So we have a couple of different steps that you can take to be prepared.
Yes,
We're gonna
real
kinda
quick.
Step down over here.
I know I'm going to have to lower the desk a little bit so you can actually see it. We're going to work some magic real quick. There we go. Oh, the microphone. That could have been bad. Okay,
There we
we're
go.
good. I think we're good.
I think we're good.
There we go. Okay, you want to stay over there and talk, and then I can do the little touching? All right, there we go.
Absolutely.
Well,
See if I can
oh,
get my
wait.
little
Yeah,
head
let's
back
see if we
here.
can. Oh, no. How do we do this?
Is that too far?
No, I'm good over here. Yeah, if you want to be by the microphone, I can just
There we go.
tap the board. There you
Okay,
go.
there you go. So you can still see our bullets. Okay. This is all trial and error. All right. So we're working through it.
We're making creative. There we go.
We're getting creative. First step is check for extra batteries, right? Make sure that you have extra batteries in your home for anything that takes them. That could be lamps, or that could be devices that could power your electronics. So now is the time to start doing all of these preparation steps too, because once we're in the thick of the storm, it might be harder to pull some of those things in. It might be harder to get to the stores. So now is really the time to do things like this, or this evening, maybe on your commute home from work. So check for extra batteries. The next thing is have enough fuel and wood. If you're a propane user, make sure that you're checking your propane. If you've got a wood-powered heat, make sure that you've got enough wood, or if you end up needing that wood in your fireplace, if your power starts to go out, having those things on hand is always going to help, and making sure that you have enough of it as well. The next thing on the list is to keep your generators outside. This is something that law enforcement and power companies put out as a warning. Really, every time there's a big storm, make sure that you keep those generators outside. If you bring them in, you could put yourself at risk for carbon monoxide poisoning. It has happened before. So they say make sure you are keeping those out of your house. And now we also have 400 plus crews ready with consumers. I'm getting ready to speak with BWL coming up in just a few minutes. So we'll have some information on some of their preparations. But as far as consumers go, 400 plus crews are ready to respond. They're sending trucks out to areas where they might see a large group of customers impacted. They've got crews coming in from other states to also help out, so really building up those reinforcements. And then we'll be hearing from BWL too to see what their preparations are like, and a little bit of information from DTE too. We do have some DTE customers in this greater Lansing and Jackson area, so they're weighing in a bit too to talk about what some of their preparations look like. But it really is all hands on deck. That's kind of the phrase that I kept hearing from consumers too. So they are ready to go, and hopefully responding as quickly as they can, so people are not left in the cold for days on end. But if you are, there are going to be some warming centers as well in the city of Lansing. I've touched base with them to find out where some of their warming centers are going to be. Warming centers in the city of Jackson too. So some of that information is also going to be coming up on News 10 at 6. So make sure that you tune in to kind of hear some of these facts and tips repeated, but also to get some updated information if you're a BWL customer. That's all going to be coming up at 6 o'clock. So
Yeah, lots of preparations happening. Again, Riley, if you want to step up, we'll let the magic happen one more time so we can raise this. But yes, with everything going on tomorrow, again, make sure you are staying safe, being alert. Tune in to Riley's story coming up during our 90 minutes of news. You will learn more about the preparations happening. You can always download the First Alert Weather app. But yeah, just making sure that you're staying prepared.
Absolutely. And if you caught our 90 minutes a couple days ago, I just did a story about driving in winter snow and winter weather. So that could be a great time to check back in on some of those safety tips too. So really covering your bases, making sure you know what to do. If your power does go out, making sure you know how to drive in these kinds of conditions. Some people, it's a work day tomorrow, so some people won't be able to avoid it. So everybody, drive slow and be safe, but we'll be keeping you updated over the next couple of days. More storm coverage to come tomorrow as well, so you'll see me out on the streets making sure that we're getting the latest information out to everybody at home. So.
Yeah, well, you be safe too, because again, Colton said First Alert Weather days for tomorrow, Friday, heading into Saturday. Again, tomorrow, Friday, more towards the early afternoon hours and mid-afternoon, getting a lot of that snowfall into the area. And so he was saying, if you have to be out on the roads, try to stay home if you can. Do not be on the roads if you do not have to. And then Saturday is going to be a lot of blizzard-like conditions. So that's not great either.
Absolutely. And our whole team is going to be there with coverage tomorrow and Saturday as well. So make sure that you're tuning in through the day to get those updates. And everybody be safe, really, is the most important thing. Even With the crews, I heard from consumers too, they have to wait until the right time to send their crews out and make sure that they're safe enough to get out there and start working on the lines. So they're keeping their crew members' safety into consideration, and customers in the area, their safety as well. They'll be helping people connect to local warming centers. So it's an all hands on deck effort. So everybody at those city, county, power company levels, they're all going to make sure that people can try to stay safe.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add, Riley?
I don't think so. I think we covered the bases. Just make sure you're tuning in for our 90 minutes.
All right. Thank you. And where exactly in the 90 minutes will you be coming up?
I'll be on at 6 o'clock, but I encourage you to watch the whole way through.
Yes. There's a lot of great information, big content. Oh, yes.
Right,
So we'll see you soon, Riley. Thank you. We also want to share what else is coming up during First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news today. So starting with First at 4, and you're going to hear me talk about this in just a little bit. You've seen me show the You're Not Alone mental health series throughout or on the News 10 Plus digital desk. And so during today's You're Not Alone mental health series, we're going to be talking about sobriety. So we're bringing in a few experts to talk about this, improving your mental health and staying sober. We'll have that coming up in just a little bit here. And then coming up News 10 at 5, it's video you have to see. Police in Kalamazoo tracked and caught a suspect in a very unlikely place. That is coming up News 10 at 5 today. Coming up News 10 at 5:30 with all of the hype over the Detroit Lions. Justin Kent checks out the ticket machine in East Lansing. So make sure that you are tuning in for that today. Coming up News 10 at 6, our Jordan Burrell looks at the rising rates of respiratory illnesses in Michigan. So I know a lot of people recently have been getting sick. They know family members when they were trying to see them over the holidays, they had to postpone some things or switch some things around because of all the respiratory illnesses going around. So be safe. We'll have more coming up News 10 at 6 today. I do want to hear what Erin Bowling has coming up, so we're going to see what she has. Oh, and it's having a little trouble. We were having some technical difficulties yesterday. Give me a little bit of time. We're going to bring up Amaya Kuznicki here in just a second. But tying into First at 4's Mid-Michigan Matters today, talking about the You're Not Alone mental health series. You've heard me say this before, and I do want to say it again, is that with the You're Not Alone mental health series, you can go scan the QR code that'll pop up on your screen in just a few minutes here. And on that, you'll find a list of resources around Mid-Michigan that will actually help guide you toward more resources, or if you are looking for counseling, therapy, behavioral therapy, anything of the sort, whether it's you personally or with your family, you can go ahead, scan that QR code for those resources. And this is just a guide, a guidance for you. You don't have to choose these resources, but they are out there. And know that you're not alone. We will continuously share stories from around Mid-Michigan with community members on their own mental health journey, whether that was with anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, stress, anything of that nature. And also bring in health experts to help you get some tips on how to heal and also improve your mentality. So that is what you can expect during Mid-Michigan Matters today, talking about sobriety. But again, know that you're not alone. There is a Lifeline chat number 988 that you can call or text for more information. I do have Amaya Kuznicki here, like I was saying. Amaya, if I can find your name. There we go. What do you have coming up today?
Today I am doing a follow-up on the officer-involved shooting that happened in Lansing, just after 6 p.m. last night. So I have a follow-up, just kind of going over the events that led up to just the whole incident, but also the suspect, Zachary Philip Dooling. He is still on the loose. They've not found him yet, and police are just making sure that you guys know if you see him, do not approach. Just make sure that you call 911 or your local law enforcement authorities. I did speak with the Lansing Police Department today, and they do kind of believe that he might be in the Ann Arbor area just because he has ties to the area. But we'll make sure to break down, everything that unfolded last night, along with any new information that we have today coming up at News 10 at 5.
Okay, well, thank you, Amaya. Again, News 10 at 5. She will have more coming up. One more time, I'll show you what we have coming up during our 90 minutes of news. Yeah, thank you, Amaya. So here's what we have coming up. One more time, you saw me just play the You're Not Alone mental health series. So that is where you can go, or we'll be talking about more on the You're Not Alone mental health series with sobriety. And so you can catch that during Mid-Michigan Matters today. Again, News 10 at 5. Also talking about the suspect being caught in an unlikely place from Kalamazoo Police. News 10 at 5:30. Lots of people, especially Detroit fans, getting pumped up for the Detroit Lions. They are facing off against the Los Angeles Rams this upcoming Sunday. We have a special here on News 10 that our team is working very hard on, so make sure you check that out. And then coming up, News 10 at 6, again, Jordan Burrell looks at the rising rate of respiratory illnesses in Michigan. So all of that, I believe the technical difficulties should be all good, so let's see what Aaron has coming up during our 90 minutes of news. Aaron?
Today on News 10 at 6, I'll bring you the story of how Sparrow caregivers not only saved a patient's dog, but they also brought him to the groomers to get a free haircut for when his owner returns. Again, I'll have this story on News 10 at 6. Back to you, Taylor.
All right, thank you, Aaron. That sounds like a cute story. Coming up, News 10 at 6 with Aaron Bowling. With all of the First Alert weather days tomorrow, Friday, and then also heading into Saturday, one more time I do want to show you the First Alert weather app, because this truly is such a great tool to have on your phone. Not just when there is storms going on, but obviously this is when you'll really see how great the app is itself. You can go on there for all of the updates and also traffic alert updates. I don't think people fully understand, unless you do use the app, how helpful and beneficial this is, especially during big impactful storms like the ones that we're going to get tomorrow. So again, First Alert weather app, go ahead, download that off of Google Play and the Apple App Store. And you will get all of the latest updates. But of course, you can always tune in online and on air here at News 10. And our meteorologists working extremely hard to give you all of the latest updates and accurate updates for the First Alert forecast. So just make sure to keep tuning in. Colton Cichoracki is going to be on Studio 10 coming up at 3 o'clock today in 20 minutes, followed by First at 4. And then Andy Provenzano will be in for our 90 minutes of news. So you can get all of your weather updates then. One more time, another quick look, a live look outside over Delta Township. Again, looks like traffic is moving pretty smoothly. I know that the roads over there were a little tricky earlier this morning with the slush and some of that snow on the roads, especially in the areas that are more of the side roads. Crews might have a harder time getting to those and making that a priority as opposed to the major roads. So they want to make sure that they're clearing those first, especially if a lot of people are out using them. And then here's a live look over downtown Jackson. It looks like I might have seen a little flurry go across, but roadways looking smooth. Looks like they're a little wet still, but overall it should be a pretty quiet day for the rest of this afternoon. But again, just make sure you are staying up to date with our meteorologists, getting the latest weather updates for the First Alert weather days tomorrow, Friday, and into Saturday. We hope you're all staying safe out there, staying warm. Make sure you're staying prepared, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.